today. I mean, it truly reflects a shared commitment to the education and future for children. Thank you, candidates, for making this time to speak with us. Thank you, Dr. Smith, for allowing this to happen. Dr. Hunter McGregor, we also appreciate you. I just wanted to acknowledge the committee members. We have Cassandra Laurent. She's going to be our timekeeper for tonight. We also have our VP of Council, Janine Fertel. And unfortunately, our President, Michelle Rye, was not able to be here tonight. We also want to thank our moderator for joining us as well, Mr. A.J. Woodson. Without further ado, we're going to go straight into our forum. I'm going to ask Janine to just introduce our moderator, and he will take it from there. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Our moderator, A.J. Woodson, is the editor-in-chief and co-owner of Black Westchester, host and producer of the People Before Politics radio show, an author, journalism fellow from Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism. Welcome.
Thank you. All right, so
Hello. First I'm going to read, I'm A.J. Woodson, I'm the moderator. They're going to have me read these, I think these are the rules. So each candidate will have an equal opportunity to present their views. Please respect time limits set for the opening statements, responses, and closing remarks. Personal attacks and negative comments about fellow candidates will not be allowed. Please focus on issues and your vision for the school board. We will adhere strictly to the time limits. The timekeeper will be visible to help you manage your responses, and we appreciate your cooperation in keeping the schedule. Please, Mama said, don't boo, vote. So if you don't like what somebody has to say, please give these candidates a chance to speak. If you don't like what they say, then you know what to do in the ballot box. But yelling at them or talking back to them now is not the time to do that. So let's try to get through this because we're on a time restraint. So I have one question that I'm going to ask that is not on here, and I'm going to give everybody 30 seconds for this. I want everybody in a row from that side to that side to tell me what is the role of the time. Oh, you got to introduce yourselves first. Start with Sakia and we're going all the way down. A minute? Everybody has a minute to introduce themselves. I'm trying to jump right in.
Can everybody hear me? All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Sakai Brown, and I'm the proud parent of a very smart fourth grader at Nelson Mandela Jose Zala Public School, where I am the PTA president, and I also helped to charter that PTA there when it opened in 2020. I hold a Bachelor's of Science in Civil Engineering from Morgan State University and Construction Management from Pratt Institute. I began my civil service career over 23 years ago at New York City Department of Parks and Recreation, and while I was there, I managed over 200 plus large-scale playground, construction, and private development projects and capital projects totaling about $1 million. I'm certified in historic masonry restoration, a published sustainability parks expert, health and safety chair for DC 37, Local 375, and I was at Parks as an assistant and borough director of construction, and when I left, I was the first female ever construction director for the borough of the Bronx. I then transitioned to New York City Department of Transportation, where I'm currently the executive director for facilities, maintenance, and capital projects, managing DOT's 90 owned and leased properties. I am also a Girl Scout mom, cookie co-chair, and I serve as secretary of the board for the director of Westchester Health Center.
Good evening. My name is Orville Dale, and I'm a 25-year resident of Mount Vernon. I'm the proud father of 4 boys and 2 grandsons. I have a master. Can you hear me?
Hold on.
Sounds better. Okay, I'll start over. My name is Orville Gale. I'm here, 25-year resident of Mount Vernon. I'm a proud father of 4 boys and 2 grandsons. I previously served on the board from 2022 to 2024, and I'm looking to return so I can finish the job we started. I don't have to get too close. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. I have a master's degree in finance and international business and a bachelor's in finance and economics. My skill is much in budgeting, and to keep the district on target, I will do my best to make sure that we don't go over. We spend the money as judicious as we can, and to make sure that the children that we serve are serviced properly. I work well with all. I served on the board and worked well with the people that was on the board when I served with them. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Shara Gladden. I literally have started from the bottom and now I'm here. I used to be a school aide. I was a paraprofessional, a preschool teacher, a community school director, an after-school director. I worked my way up to finally become a director of school operations and overseeing 34 schools, partnerships with after-school programming. I have my master's in public administration, and in that I concentrated in thinking about developmental psychology and my BA as well. So everything that I do is coming from a place of knowledge from the school inside and out, and thinking about partnerships. So understand that I'm coming with a knowledge base and database approach to a lot of the things and situations that we currently have here in Mount Vernon if I was to be elected in this role.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lorna Kerwin. I'm a long-standing resident of Mount Vernon. I bring a track record of service, strategic vision, and results that uplift students and the strengthening of our community. I am a devoted mother of a proud daughter who is a college age. I have extensive knowledge in I have extensive background knowledge in finance, auditing, budget, and I currently work as a global financial crime manager for a major financial institution. I hold a bachelor in pre-law and a minor in finance. I have a master of public administration from Pace University. My advocacy began at the grassroots level for the PTA president at Traphagen Elementary School. Soon after, I was recruited to be the council president, where I raised over $250,000 for scholarships for our high school and middle school students. Thank you.
I'll use my classroom voice. Good evening, everyone. My name is Erica Peterson, and I'm a lifelong resident of Mount Vernon. I'm the proud mother of 3 amazing children, all of whom are current or former students in the Mount Vernon City School District. I come from a family deeply rooted in public service. My mother is a retired New York City school principal, and my father was a construction operating engineer. I graduated from Mount Vernon High School and went on to earn a Bachelor of Science degree in Healthcare Administration from Lehman College. I also studied human development at Howard University. For over 20 years, I worked in the healthcare field, managing departments at Columbia University Medical Center and Bronx Lebanon Hospital. I also had the honor of serving as the director of the Planned Parenthood Family Clinic right here in Mount Vernon. Community service is incredibly important to me. I currently serve as the president of the Mount Vernon High School PTA and secretary of the Mount Vernon Council of PTAs. That's okay, y'all forgot me earlier, that's all right. I'm a member of the Mount Vernon Comprehensive Plan Advisory Committee and sit on the Parent Advisory Panel for the New York State Education Department's Blue Ribbon Commission on Graduation Measures. I'm also a coach for the Mount Vernon Junior Knights, a member of the Westchester Black Women's Political Caucus, and a proud citizen of the Nottaway Indian Tribe of Virginia.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Adrienne Saunders, number 1A on the ballot. I am running for re-election to the Mount Vernon Board of Education because our students, families, and taxpayers deserve leadership that delivers, not promises. When I first ran in 2012, our schools were in crisis. The high school was underperforming, Davis Middle School was ranked among the worst in the nation, and critical programs like vocational education were eliminated. At the time, school taxes were skyrocketed by 270%, and in the mid-90s with little to very to show for it. Since being elected, I've worked alongside colleagues in the community to lead a real transformation. We closed Davis School and opened up STEAM Academy, Denzel Washington School of Performing Arts. We instated career and technical education programs to give our young people real pathways to success. And we are all, and while we're keeping school taxes nearly flat, just 1.89% increase to the decade, for the past decade, despite the declining outside funding and rising costs.
Time.
Good evening, Mount Vernon, good evening. My name is Randolph Scott, but as the good Bernie Mac said, we family, Mount Vernon, we family, so you can call me Randy. I'm a 20-year resident of Mount Vernon, father of 2 district-educated students, current coach of the Mount Vernon Junior Knights basketball program. I have 30 years of experience in social work, government, youth development, human and social services, program management, and program development. And finally, I'm currently the Deputy Commissioner of Social Service for Westchester County Department of Social Services. With my 30 years in community service, experience in government regarding community-wide mental health issues and assisting those in needs, managing multi-million-dollar budgets, being a member of various nonprofit boards, and coaching youth sports, I offer myself as a candidate that can envision a district that motivates our educators to foster critical thinking and problem-solving skills with our students, our community, and desperately needing a strong future.
Time. Thank you. Hold on to the mic. You can give them a round of applause for the candidates. As you see, I was eager to jump into it. I forgot that. We're going to get right into it. We're going to start. I'm adding the question. I'm giving y'all 30 seconds. I think it's very important. I want each of you to tell me what is the role of the school board trustee, the position that you're running for. We're going to start with Mr. Scott, and we're going to go that way. 30 seconds, Jess.
What is the role of the school board trustee?
Yes.
Basically to work with the community. Basically to make sure that the students have the necessary education that they require and that will help them be prosperous in the future. Basically managing a budget that meets the needs of the community. Working with the professionals and making sure that we have the right ones in the system, which we do, and giving them what they deserve, the contract. Basically working with our students to make sure that they have programs, not only in school, but after school. Using the buildings that we have and making sure programming meets the needs of the community. Talking to the community. Making sure we do the right thing.
The role of a trustee is to make sure policies implemented and done correctly. We also oversee the superintendent and the district clerk and the treasurer. We don't write curriculum. We don't hire. We don't fire. We just make sure that the district is running smoothly.
The role of a school board trustee is for oversight. It's not to micromanage. It is to have oversight of the district, to make sure that the superintendent is doing right by the district, to make sure that the curriculum is doing right by the students, to make sure that policies and procedures are in place throughout the district. It is the oversight, not micromanage. However, if we do see something wrong, as a school board trustee, you definitely should step in and give your voice.
The role of a trustee is a representative of the public. And the trustee role basically manage the superintendent. We govern the school district. We set policies. We do not micromanage or manage the school district. We leave that up for the superintendent to do. So our goal is really to govern and to set policies and make sure the policies are implemented by the superintendent and support the superintendent.
The role of the trustee, for me, is something more than just thinking about managing budgets. I know we hear a lot about money talk right now, but it's lives. We're talking about children's lives, family lives, and it's beyond just thinking about our background of being in Mount Vernon as I am a 17-year resident, but thinking about the policies and whether it means getting actual grants, so we get extra money, so it's not tax dollar money, right? actually making sure we're using curriculum that's aligned to making sure that our scholars succeed in life beyond just getting to Mount Vernon High School, but thinking about what their next steps are.
A trustee is a representative of the residents of the district. Every person in the district cannot be on the board and cannot see what's going on. So we represent the district. We set policy and work with the administration to make sure that these policies and procedures are carried so that the children will benefit and the district in the whole will grow.
The role of a board member is we implement policies. We look at the allocation of the resources and the funding. We make decisions at district levels. We represent the interests of the community, students, staff, and the families. And our children are the most important commodity here. We communicate with parents, educators, and community members, and we make board decisions and educational policies. And the most important, we communicate with the community.
Okay, I'm going to let you hold the mic. You're going to start. These are the questions, 2-minute responses. Question number 1, what are your budget priorities and how will you balance fiscal responsibilities with the student needs? Ms. Brown.
Can you repeat the question? I'm not sure I have it all together because you have a couple of questions in one.
Question number 1, what are your budget priorities and how will you balance fiscal responsibilities with student needs?
So my budget priorities would be, because my background is in extensive capital project improvements. So naturally, my budget would be capital improvements, capital investments. I would like to take a deep dive into how the money was spent and how it's allocated under the previous bonds, what actual work was done and what the plans are going forward. Those would be my personal priorities. I'm only speaking on my background and my knowledge, and so those would be my first priority, my first responsibility as a new trustee.
Okay, my budget priorities are to ensure that dollars earned are spent properly, cut costs where we can, and to increase revenue where we should. Now, increasing revenue, cutting costs is a little difficult because revenues just come from taxes, grants, stuff like that. So as a trustee, what we want to make sure is that folks that are supposedly providing us with our revenue will be able to do so. So as a trustee, my budget priority is to keep the budget. Is there something?
Stop. Left the room. So if we can get everybody to just calm down a little bit. I know it's going to be hard to allow the candidate to speak. And so we got a minute and a half. All right, start. We'll give you 2 minutes. You can start.
That's okay. No, I'm good. Just to make sure that we, get the revenue that we should, work on reducing costs where we can, and then make sure that the budget prioritizes the enhancement of benefits for the children and for the community. The community needs to benefit from our budget. So my first priority is to look at cost cutting, cut costs where we can, and to make sure that we hold people accountable for making sure we receive the revenues that owed to us.
So my top budget priorities would definitely be early literacy programming, So one of the other roles that I didn't mention is our Director of Family Community Engagement, where I oversaw a citywide literacy component, where we actually saw great gains in our children's reading capability. As you know, here in Mount Vernon, our children, they're not doing so well on the actual testing. And so one of the things I really want to make sure is that we're aligning everything that we're doing for impact and not just for quick Band-Aid or duct tape solutions for right now. Ensuring that our students are succeeding on our testing and our outcomes, as well as making sure we have teachers that are retained, so they have the same familiar faces. So my daughter, who went to Parker, she can still see Ms. Pierce and Parker as well. So we actually have teachers that are sustained inside our programs. And another thing I would think about is also special education and ensuring that our children have equal opportunity to having occupational therapy and services that they need to succeed in their journey with us as well.
The budget priority for me is ensuring that it is centered around students' needs and making sure that the money is spent where it's needed as opposed to be wasteful. Also make sure that teachers and administration are taken care of. Make sure that we spend the money so the curriculum is of standards for New York State, and make sure that we have the right pathway for graduation to increase especially literacy and math. That's my priority for the budget.
My priorities all focus on closing the learning gap of our students, finalizing a fair and timely contract because teachers, of course, are the heartbeat of our schools. We have to balance teacher raises and benefits with long-term sustainability. It just can't be a year-to-year fix. I would protect student support. That's a big concern of mine that's near and dear to my heart, whether it be reading and math specialists to our mental health staff, because when we do that, it shows that we're investing in our students and it helps them thrive as well. I also want to make sure that our buildings are properly maintained and our classrooms have the right technology so our teachers and students can focus and feel safe in the classroom and in our buildings. Student needs and staff stability go hand in hand, and when you invest intellectually in both, we can build a school district that's not only financially sound, but it's truly striving.
Hi, my top budget priorities are protecting and expanding instructional time and quality time for students, supporting mental health, special education, and after-school program, modernizing infrastructure and technology. These priorities are about balancing a strong physical stewardship with real academic returns.
Hello, can you hear me? So for me, in regards to the budget, I want to make sure that, one, we have financial security where we're not living check by check, right? We want to make sure that we're sound in what we put out so it can last us for years. Sorry about that it can last us for years. I also want to make sure that we have the proper staffing, looking at the contracts and making sure that those are resolved and we move forward with the best professionals that we have. I want to make sure that the food security is sound, making sure that our students eat the proper things during the day, so making sure the budget reflects that. Making sure the budget reflects how we're going to work on infrastructure so that we don't have rodents running around during a meeting, right? We want to make sure that we have the school curriculum where we look at special ed, look at literacy, math, and reading, the high top things that we need for our students to be responsible for. Also, I want to make sure that we improve school safety because we need them, not only here but also in the community. We need to make sure that our students are safe as well as our community is safe. And last but not least, I want to make sure that we have transparency. So I want to communicate with you when we decide what we're going to do with the budget, so you can let us know we're going in the right direction.
All right, that's good. First, let me thank all the candidates for honoring the time and answering quickly. If you keep doing that, we can get through all these questions. Number two, and we're going to start with number two, Mr. Gale. How do you plan to build partnerships with local organizations, local government, and local business to support students?
I know for me personally, I volunteered with Junior Achievement, And I teach in schools, teaching kids finance, teaching kids how to do business and how to work with business. So for us, it's just to reach out to these different companies, schools, make sure that they introduce into Mount Vernon, and work with the Boys and Girls Clubs, work with the Recreation Department. So for me, it's very easy for me to work with groups that's going to make sure that our kids will benefit. Like I said, I work with Junior Achievement, and I've worked and actually taught in 3 schools, teaching the kids how to manage their money, how to work as an entrepreneur. So for me, we just have to go out, get these businesses, communicate with businesses, work with schools, look at other districts, see what they're doing well, and then copy what they do and work with them. So it's very easy just to go out and.
So for me, I know that as a teacher, I really value having experiential learning. So learning happens beyond the classroom. It happens at home with the families. And so when I used to be a teacher in Belize, I actually had the zoo, which is 4 hours away, come down and bring animals so our kids could actually experience that. I had a parent who had a boat, take our kids on a boat ride, right? Now I'm back in the city. Very different, as you can imagine, right? But I still have those same partnerships. So I have partnership with the Wildlife Conservation Society. I have partnerships with different museums and things like that. I think our learning boundary has to be outside of just Mount Vernon. It has to be with our parents as well. One of the things I used to enjoy doing was having parent nights. I would literally have parents come into my classroom and they will learn the way that I'm teaching their child so they can model that at home. When it comes to my early literacy program, it's parent driven. It's not based on teachers. It's any person who can read and have phonetical awareness can do that with their child. So thinking beyond the scope of the outside of the classroom, the school classroom as well, in our partnerships, and leveraging the people that we have here in this room and within our community, is also thinking about larger organizations like the Wildlife Conservation Society, thinking about the Met as well, and all the other organizations.
This is very near and dear to me because I am the driving force in bringing in partnership into the school district. Currently, I brought in Iona University to teach AI in 2 schools. I also brought in Con Edison ACE program into the school district where the students from the STEAM Academy goes to Manhattan College to be taught by engineers, construction workers, and architects. So for me, I do believe a student should not only achieve in the classroom, but also outside the classroom, make it be a wholesome child. So I'm very, 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 very interested in bringing in more partnership into the school district if I do get re-elected.
Well, I am a big believer that the schools cannot do it alone. And that's saying it takes a village to raise a child. It's true. I plan on building partnerships, whether it be with local organizations and businesses that are able to be effective and focus on the goals set forth to support our students. As the PTA president at Mount Vernon High School, I have an amazing relationship with the University of Notre Dame, and they have a summer program, and they are always asking me, Erica, we need more students, we want more students from Mount Vernon High School. So I plan on expanding that and also building into and touching into other relationships I have with universities and businesses across not only the state, but the country. Same thing with several organizations citywide and in the county. I would like to create a solid community partnership framework, because having strong partnerships don't just bring in resources, but they help weave our schools more deeply into the communities, and that's what creates healthy students.
Hi, I will continue to do what I've done in the past. I had successfully brought back the Pioneer League, which is a program that helps support special ed students go play activities, sports. They compete in other districts with sports. I also, I'm in the middle of having conversations with community members about task managers. They come into the school and they want to use the cosmetology program after hours to help the community. Also working with a person to bring in the Westchester Flames to the Mount Vernon High School sports field. And with that, that will bring in about $150,000 to the district, which will help employ students. I just want to continue to bring food services. I brought the pantry to Parker School, the Feeding Westchester pantry to Parker School, and I'll continue to expand on that to other schools.
For me, being a social worker, and one of the skills or trainings that I did was about community organizing. So getting into the community and being able to talk to the folks and understand what the needs are. So basically for me, it's about getting into the community, doing surveys if necessary, identifying what the needs are, and then identifying those prospective organizations or not-for-profits to come in and help the community do the work that we need to get by. So for me, it is basically just making sure that I use the skills that I have with government, with community organizing, identifying those respective needs, going into those places, scheduling meetings, something that we don't do a lot in Mount Vernon, getting the feedback, understanding what we are, seeing if the community is with it, and then basically doing that. So for me, it's about getting on the ground, rolling up your sleeves and getting involved and not sitting behind a desk or a computer.
In a true partnership, there should be regular meetings to align entities' visions to move this needle. Being that I am a city worker and I've worked for New York City for close to 24 years, I would bring my partnerships and all of my contacts and resources to Mount Vernon, which I do now as a PTA president. I've brought traffic safety events to school. I am also the go-to person in Mount Vernon and in the Bronx and in Queens for those who are into career days, career fairs. And I expose youth to city jobs. There is a life and a living that students can make. And when I was at Mount Vernon High School a couple of months ago, the kids were very excited in the automotive class to learn that they can take their automotive skills to the city of New York. And I was able to bridge that gap to introduce that to them. So I feel like we definitely need to work collaboratively with our sister cities that also have resources that are willing to work with us. We just have to all meet and come to the table at one time.
Okay, thank you. We're going to start with number 3. I'll mix up the questions a little bit. What specific steps would you take to ensure that personalities don't negatively impact the work and that students' best interests remain priority?
So when it comes to this work, I think the biggest thing is getting rid of implicit bias. And so I think program quality observation tools, actually making sure that we're measuring what we're saying we're measuring when we're having conversations about the policy we're putting into place. Also having forums for families' voices to be heard, so it's not just our voices in a vacuum that's here in the boardroom talking about things, but it's actually making sure that it's in connection with what our families and our students and the teachers that we're servicing as well as also encapsulated in any decisions that we have. When it comes to making political and policy decisions, we're also making sure that we're utilizing best practices from, again, our sister neighborhoods, or whether it be nationwide, and thinking about how we can ensure that everything that we're doing is in alignment for the best interest of our students and not for our own personal gains.
Okay, so it's very important to focus on creating a culture that's grounded in professionalism, mutual respect. I would encourage the department heads to adhere and to enforce code of conduct. I also will, everyone will have disagreement, but it's to agree to disagree with each other, right? You don't take, when you speak to people, you don't criticize them or take it personal. So I would definitely encourage all the department heads to enforce our code of conduct in a respectful way.
This is a great question because leadership to me is not just about policies, it's about people and professionalism. And I will always stress professionalism over personalities. I will advocate for clear expectations around professionalism, respect, and collaboration, especially during public board meetings, because right now this is an active issue we're seeing. I intend to model the behavior I expect from others. I also feel like there needs to be consequences when board members violate those standards. And I will always make sure to stay laser focused on our students. Many times I watch and attend meetings and I wonder, what would the students say if they watched the meeting? If they heard adults cursing under their breath and disrespecting community members that come up to the mic. If we don't want our students doing it, then we should not be doing it ourselves, and that's how I will lead.
My leadership style is grounded in collaboration, not conflict. I've always prioritized student needs over policies. I will support governance training, strong board norms, and accountability structures to keep everyone focused on outcomes and not their personalities.
For me, it's about breaking down any silos that we have. It should not be working in any silos. We are a board that should be working together collaboratively to face all the issues together and come with a consensus on what the direction we're going to go into. We should be listening first to be understood so that we can hear what the issue is and be able to provide the best opinion or decision that we have for that respective issue. We should definitely have a system of equity so that everybody feels that their voice is warranted and welcomed in the room, whether it's on the board or those in the community. We should be respectful of people's questions and be able to provide them with an answer. If we can't provide an answer at that moment, we have a system in place where we can get that answer to them so that they are well informed and can make the best decision for them and their families. Right? So basically, it's about making sure communication is clear, concise, and crystal.
Initially, I would start by saying a new mindset should be adopted by the entire district. Leadership training should be done, including empathy and respectful dialogue in a professional manner. As a parent, I want model behavior. During the role and seeing what a trustee would do, I have conversations with my daughter because I'm a parent. And one thing she said to me was, "Mom, when you get up there, don't be mean like the rest of them." And that was really a tough conversation to have with the fourth grader, but our kids are watching. And I want my daughter to see a positive role model. I want her to see positive people. I want her to see how you can conduct yourself in a professional manner, and you can agree to disagree, but do it in a professional manner. And I would also suggest that we have to be a change. As a new board member, I want to change that idea. I want to go in with a new mindset. That's what I would.
I've always worked well with people, and different personalities doesn't bother me. Actually, I like that because you learn from different people. You know, if every player on the team was a quarterback, there'll be nobody to run the ball, so it's okay. And it's also you learn from people. So working with people who have different ideas, who may disagree with you, it's okay. You know, what you have to do is show leadership where you can communicate with someone and try and get them to see your point of view, you see their points of view, and make sure that you come to some compromise. So by showing leadership, we can overcome negativity. And I have no issues dealing with that. I have lots of experience dealing with negativity in a positive way.
Okay, we're going to start with Mona, number 4. Next question is, and make sure everybody speaks into the mic, because a few people are not speaking into the mic and saying they can't hear you. With the New York State Department of Education's decision to assign a monitor to our school district starting July 1st, how do you ensure that there will be transparency and accountability in our district's fiscal and academic performance under this new supervision?
That's a great question. I really like that question. I was one of the trustees who actually advocated for a monitor to come into the school district. So the school district will have oversight. Now we are in dire need, and it took years. It took at least 10 years for us to get here. And for us to have an improvement, I do think that we do need oversight from the state. And so yes, it is very vital that the monitor will be coming, working with the superintendent, working with the administration, making sure the finances, not only the finances, but the curriculum, the carry out, and the students' performance increase. So yes, I do support the monitor because we definitely need oversight in the school district.
Sorry folks, I'm at the age I need reading glasses, but I believe the New York State Education Department's decision to assign a monitor reflects a clear message. It is a message that our district must do better, fiscally, academically, and in how we communicate with the community. While no one wants outside intervention, I know that, we must face the reality that years of mismanagement, years of poor school board leadership, and broken trust have brought us here. As a trustee, I'll see this as an opportunity, not a setback. I will work in full cooperation with the monitor while continuing to advocate for our students, families, and staff. To ensure transparency, under this new supervision, I will push for public quarterly reports on fiscal and academic performance. That way we don't have to wait until next May to find out about our budget. I'll push for community forums with the monitor to explain their findings to the public, and they'll be able to take questions from the public. A clear, community-centered accountability dashboard. I thought about this earlier. I said it would be great that if when the monitor comes, there is some type of dashboard placed on our school district website where it shows where we're making progress and where we're not. So, one thing for sure is that we didn't get here overnight. But with the right board leadership, we can rebuild trust, and I believe we can all move forward together.
Thank you. Accountability matters, and I welcome the collaboration with the monitor. We asked for a monitor for 5 years, and the state just told us today we're only going to get 2 years. And that will help us with transparency and tell us everything, that we're doing what we should be doing. We've had some inconsistencies with our business superintendents over the last few years, so we need somebody that's steady. And I hope we get it for 5 years. Hopefully they renew them after the 2 years.
Bringing in a state monitor definitely is not something that I would have wanted, but it's here, right? It makes it seem like we're not taking care of our own house, and that we need someone else to come in and do the job for us. So we need to make sure that we change that perception. So going forward, if elected, one of the things I definitely want to do in terms of some of the things that were said were, instead of quarterly reports, let's do monthly reports so that we can get that information out there quicker and sooner to the folks to let them know what is happening, what changes, what improvements. We also want to make sure that we emphasize communication. So sending out literature on a regular basis so that folks can get information on what's happening with the school, what decisions the monitor is making, and how the board is playing a role in those respective decisions. So it's all about transparency and getting the communication.
I think having the state come into the district is embarrassing. Why would we want an outsider coming into our house to see what we're doing? It shows that we aren't able to manage ourselves by ourselves, and now we need help. While this new supervision is in place, we will have to be open and honest about all district business. By having the monitor in place, the district will be more open and transparent to the community routinely. This will open the dialogue on a consistent basis and not wait until year's end when we have to balance budgets.
I do believe that we're on the right track. From what I saw years ago to where we are now, we are making good progress with better leadership, but the state is coming in. So let's just use that as a positive to make sure that at least we show them that we are making progress. I felt for accountability from the previous administration, and speaking with the superintendent for business, we had to get information out of them that for years nobody was getting those information. So there's a lot of things that brought us here, and I think now that we are making progress, the state coming in will just reinforce that we are making progress.
The appointment of a state monitor should not be viewed solely as a punishment, but as an opportunity to rebuild systems, trust, and shared vision for our schools. It's a reminder that we must do better, and we can, and we will. Transparency and accountability must go beyond finances. We need historic and community-rooted audits that examine not just how money is spent, but how past decisions have shaped our current landscape. I believe the monitor's role can be a catalyst for a deeper reflection and transformation if we embrace it with humility and resolve. If elected, I will push for consistent reporting, weekly board summaries, multilingual communications about what's actually happening, and accessible meetings where families are not just informed about the fact after the fact, but actively involved in shaping the future. We will ensure consolidation plans, budget priorities, and academic goals are developed with clear input from families and with equity and excellence at the center, no matter the zip code. This is a moment to align our systems with our values. I'm committed to making sure we rise to meet it, and it goes beyond just thinking about what we can do in the past and what we should have done, but really thinking about how can we make sure that Mount Vernon is looked as a hub for education again. We have the first STEM school in Westchester. How do we create that same type of spectacular magic again in Mount Vernon, where people are proud to graduate from Mount Vernon?
So we're going to start with Ms. Peterson. And the last couple of words of your answer sparked a question for me that I'm going to throw in here. So in all the conversation about the declining enrollment and the state now approving money to expand, one of the things elected, what would you do to help bring more people, to help grow our enrollment, to build a better system that people want to go to the school?
Well, I think first you have to make our schools attractive. You have to make the school district attractive to new families to come in here. You have to, I do believe, and I'm the PTA president for Mount Vernon High School, so I may be a little one-sided here, but at Mount Vernon High School, we have an amazing CTE program. So we are offering programs that students can graduate with college credits, that students can graduate with certification in whether it be barbering, cosmetology, automotive skills, healthcare assistant skills. We have a lot of programs here at Mount Vernon High School. However, I think that even we have Denzel Washington, our performing arts school, and we have STEAM, we have amazing programs in this school district. We have to get everything else pushed to the side and fixed first, because people want to come here. Let's not think that people don't want to come to the city to have their children to learn here. People want to come here. We have amazing schools here. We have teachers in our classrooms who are doing amazing work. The issue is we need to get our finances in order. We need to get our teachers a contract, that put aside. Once we clean house first, then we can focus on the garden outside and how the roses bloom.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Basically, what would you do if elected to help grow the enrollment? We keep hearing how enrollment is declining. What would you do if elected to help make the school system more attractive to bring more people?
Well, as previously mentioned, we have a lot, when I got on the board, we had no vocational programs in the school district. So now we do. We have Ford, we have cosmetology, culinary, barbering, and now we just added hospitality. Some of those programs, they're certified, but we're trying to get more students involved. So there was a conversation I had with the person at the high school. Maybe we can try to bring some of the students from Denzel and the STEAM Academy to come over for a couple of periods to the high school in order to take some of those programs. So we can get a Perkins grant that'll pay for that. Because right now we're paying for those programs out of our budget. If we have a Perkins grant, that would pay for them on its own.
So we have a lot of programs that are beneficial to our students that maybe a lot of folks don't know about. So we have to do some way of making sure that people know about these respective programs and want to enroll their students and bring their students or their children back to the district so that they can utilize them. But we also can't just only think about the program, and we got to think about the professionals as well. We got to make sure that we attract the right professionals and the great professionals, especially the ones that we have, keeping them so that we can show that we have high respect for those that are teaching our students. Because a lot of parents, they want to know who's in the classroom with their child and what are they teaching their child. So making sure that that is done. Making sure that we have the necessary educational curriculum that is equal to the surrounding counties. Looking at what they're doing that are attracting people to go to those counties, and look about bringing them here if we do not have them. And if we do have them, we need to definitely communicate it out much, much better.
Can you repeat the question, because it's been a couple of people?
So basically, what, if elected, you would do? We keep hearing about declining enrollment. What would you do to help make the system more attractive, to help grow the enrollment?
Okay. First, we would really need to highlight the great things that the district has, which has kind of been left in the wind. People don't really know what Mount Vernon offers. The teachers should have contracts. That's enticing. That will bring paraprofessionals here. That will bring families here. That's the reason why I moved back to Mount Vernon when I had my child, because of the education, because of what students were getting. That's the reason why I moved back. We need to do more outreach. We need to highlight all of the trades that are offered at the high school. As a parent of a young child, I didn't know all of the trades that the high school offered, and to be able to walk around and see that was really exciting as a parent. And so we should do better outreach. We should look nationwide to see what other schools are doing, to see how can we bring our district, if not close, but far surpass that. We just really need to take a deep dive, because we need to be attractive. We need to attract new families. And I feel that would be a step in the right direction for this district.
Yeah, so we do have to highlight the good things that the school district is doing. That will definitely help. But we cannot be oblivious to the fact that we live in a city that has problems. So we have to work together between the city and the school district to fix that problem, because people will not come in if the city is not what they think it should be. So we can't just say the school district is, because of declining enrollment, the school district is not performing. People look at the cities that they're moving into also. So as much as there's a lot of good programs in the school district, someone may not want to move to Mount Vernon if they don't feel safe in Mount Vernon. So we have to have the city working with the school district to ensure and to make people feel safer, and that will help people moving into the Mount Vernon and hopefully increase the population of the schools.
When I think of enticing, what I think about is in my youth, what I thought was enticing, and not necessarily what may be in line with our children. So when I used to be a community school director, one of the things that I experienced is chronic absenteeism. So that basically means children weren't coming to school. And we would focus on only incentivizing the kids who were coming to school to keep on coming to school, and we wouldn't talk to the kids who were not coming to the school. And what I did was I decided to flip it around. I talked to the kids who were not coming to the school. I had a pizza party for them, and I said, why aren't you coming to school? How can I entice you to come to school? And they said, we need money, I have to have a job. So then I started to look for alignment for that. So what I'm saying for this important conversation is really getting the voices that are not here in this room right now, but finding out why parents are not sending their kids here. Having focus groups that are really targeting the why, so we can then establish a how we're going to do that, how we're going to implement it. Because we know only one part of the conversation, whether it be low birth rates, whether it be a cost, whether it be just our curriculum, but there may be other factors that are beyond our scope right now that we could really help uplift and ensure that, again, this is a community-focused problem. I'm making sure that we're doing community access and also doing more celebratory things. So again, highlighting success of our children, making sure that we're having like even parades or things like that, so it's more celebratory and you're not only hearing from us when it's coming from finance standpoint or thinking about what exactly is going wrong with our system and how can you fix it, but what is going great as well.
So we should highlight all the good things that happen in the school district. We should also make sure that the curriculum is aligned to New York State. We should align our learning with students and the students' performance, making sure that we have teachers that we could retain in our school district, because if we have strong teachers in front of our students would perform, they would increase our testing rates with the New York State. So we want to highlight also, as I said, with all the good things that's happening here at Mount Vernon. It's not only negative things happen, we have a lot of good things and we want to highlight that, let the public know what is going on in the school district, also to collaborate with our stakeholders, let them come in, have partnerships so they could also advertise for the school district. That way our partnership with the community will grow and the school district would also grow.
We'll start this question with Mrs. Saunders. I have two more questions and then we're going to open it up to the audience so they can have some input. Given that regularly seeking and valuing community input fosters trust between school board and the community, leading more to collaborative environment where stakeholders feel invested in the educational process, what specific plans do you have to restore trust of the Mount Vernon community if elected as a trustee?
Thank you for the question. Trust is earned by showing up, listening, and delivering. I favor hosting town halls, visiting schools, and creating advisory groups so families can have a real voice and not just a vote.
Okay, for this question, I was thinking about how to respond to this question to make sure it's very clear in terms of the answer. And for me, it was about looking at what the board trustees' responsibilities are and making sure that they fulfill those responsibilities. So I'm going to share with you what those responsibilities are, and that will be my answer to this respective question. Ensure that all students receive the best education possible, as well as express and represent the views of the community in matters affecting education. Exercise an educational leadership in drafting policies for their effective operation. Employing the superintendent of schools. Confirming appointments of administrators, teachers, and other district members. Setting goals for educational standards. Adopting a yearly budget and authorizing certain expenditures. And finally, expressing and representing the views of the community in matters affecting educational programs and the needs of the community. That is what we should be doing as board trustees, making sure that we live up to these responsibilities and making sure that you trust us, believe in us, and definitely want to make sure that you get everything that is necessary.
Trustees need to be accessible and not afraid to have dialogue with the community. I am about action and doing the work. Faith without works is dead, so I'm willing to do the footwork necessary to get work done. The first thing we should do is open the floor up for questions and open comment sections up on digital platforms and not stifle community dialogue and comments or voices. I go to the schools, I do face-to-faces, and I'm personable and approachable. I am out there at my daughter's school, at other schools, when asked, because they need to have that person that they can talk to. I don't want to sit behind a desk the whole time that I'm a new trustee. I want to get out in the community and have that personal interface. I want community members and families to know that they have a trustee that they can actually reach out and touch.
My long-term view is that Mount Vernon School District, rises towards the top of New York State. We need to bring in more revenue to be able to sponsor some of these programs that we were talking about. The fact that I volunteer for the schools and help these children shows the community that I just don't speak it, I do it. So for me, for the community to feel comfortable that I will do my job as a trustee, I'm doing it as a regular citizen of Mount Vernon. So what we need to do is to be able to work with the community, work with the children, work with the parents. Because a lot of parents, when I taught finance at the high school, there are a lot of parents who were, for the first time, were learning about certain things that people do and how we can save money, make money, invest money, and do things. So for me, you work with the community, share information with the community, let the community understand, and let people see that you're committed to helping. Once you do that, then you can gain the trust of the community. Okay.
Rapport is rooted in appreciation, not just listening. But truly valuing each parent, educator, and stakeholder brings to our diverse community. And Mount Vernon families shouldn't feel merely tolerated. They should be celebrated. Trust is built when people see their voices matter and their contributions are respected. If elected, I will help lead with humility and genuine appreciation for those we serve. I believe we need more celebratory and uplifting gatherings that not only inform, but uplift opportunities where we highlight student success, honor family involvement, and bridge the gap between pride in our public education system and what it's like to live and raise a child here in Mount Vernon. Ultimately, we're not managing a system. We're creating a village, together, working together for a solution of restoring pride, unity, and excellence in our schools and education for our children as well.
I will work to rebuild the trust of the community by creating a culture of inclusion, transparency, and accountability. I would implement process that follows up the concerns of parents and stakeholders, educators and students as well. Make sure everyone's voice is heard, follow up and follow through. Get the work done, not just say, oh, you have suggestions, you give suggestions, and don't follow up on the suggestions. Make sure that every voice is heard and everyone's concerns is addressed so that we could have a better school system.
Well, restoring trust, for me, starts with showing up and listening. If elected, I will be a visible, accessible trustee, and I will prioritize open dialogue with our families, our educators, and our students. That means holding regular community forums, making sure board meetings are transparent and easy to follow, and actively seeking input before making major decisions, not after. For my public service side, since I do work for the police department and I love a good advisory council, I'd like to advocate for the creation of a community advisory council that's made up of parents, students, educators, and community members to help guide board decisions.
Put your hand up so they can give you a card. We have to be out of here, I believe, at 8 o'clock. So please hand up any cards you may have. We need some cards over here. Okay, so we're gonna try rapid fire, 1 minute. So we can get as many questions as possible, if that's possible. Please explain. So I'm gonna also ask that when you hand out cards, you give me cards that all the candidates can answer, not just maybe the current trustees, because the candidates might not be able to answer certain questions if you're asking about things that they were not there for, so. Could you please tell the community
How are we going to start?
We're going to start from Mr. Scott and go down. Go down. Sorry about that. Could you please tell the community what effect you believe a 7-year period of zero tax levy increase has had on the school district?
I believe it's put us in a position where we are in now. You know, we were not honest with the community in regards to what needed to happen, and we were not looking at the whole community. We were probably looking at portions of the community to make sure that they were happy with respect to how things were done. What we needed to do was make sure that everyone understood that there may not be 0% tax, right? We might have to give 0.5 or whatever the number is, but it's about transparency and communicating with folks so that they know how to plan accordingly. I think we did not give the community the true sense of where we were in these dire straits, and now we're trying to catch up and make things whole again. And that is causing a problem within the community. So I think with respect to the 7 years or more, we didn't do our due diligence in communication and making sure that everyone knew exactly what was happening in our community.
So it wasn't 7 years without a tax increase. There was a 0.5 tax increase in 2017 and then a 0.89 in 2019. So and then every time the budget was presented to the community, board members voted for the same tax increase, 0% tax increase. And the other part of the question is what? Was there two parts to the question?
Yeah, when do you feel that the 0% tax?
Well, since I've been on the board, as I mentioned before, we were able to have these programs, implement these programs that we were able to, as Ford Motor Credit, we've had culinary programs, we've had so many programs come to the school district within the last 10 years. But as I stated, there was never a 0% tax increase for 7 years. We had a 0.8 in 2019 and a 0.5 in 2017.
I'm sorry, Asia, can you please repeat the question?
Could you please tell the community what effect you believe a 7-year period of zero tax levy increase has had on the school district?
Even with the 2 years of the 0.5 and the 0.89% tax increases, it still overall led our district into financial mayhem, which we are in right now. It did not benefit our district. It wasn't fiscally responsible to endure year after year of 0% tax increases. Meanwhile, you have communities around us, surrounding us, who their school districts are thriving and flourishing and growing because they've had healthy, responsible, modest tax increases.
So I have to say that it's more than not increasing the taxes. Over the last 10 years, the taxes were now increased only by 0.5%, and the school district did not cut services to students. Now, we live in a city where the city itself increased property taxes every year, 5%, 8%. So the Board of Trustees come together and they make a sound decision not to increase taxes because the community is already taxed by the city every year. So to soften the burden from the taxpayers, the school district did not raise taxes over the last 10 years, I want to say. And that did not really decrease any services to the students.
While looking at just taxes is one aspect of our funding stream, as you saw in the beautiful pie chart if you were here earlier, right? One of the things we really need to think about is diversifying how we're getting money in our schools. We're thinking about future casting, so I'm gonna talk more about future than thinking about the past, because I wasn't a part of past decisions at all. All I can talk about is the future. So it's about diversifying our funding streams, so think about grant writing, leveraging public and private partnerships, so we can offset some of these expenses, like that 40% transportation. Also thinking about how can we rely on more creative ways and be more proactive about things that we know are coming up the pipeline, and finding different ways to take the burden off the shoulders of just residents that are currently experiencing their own inflation and own financial discrepancies currently.
I don't believe a 0% tax increase was the problem. Okay, we have to be honest. If we had cut costs like closing some of those schools before, that was a lot of money that would have been saved. If we had collected the taxes due from folks who don't pay their taxes, would have been okay. So the 0% tax levy is not the problem. The problem is the holding people accountable who collect that tax money and what they do with it. And that wasn't being done for many, many years. So if we look forward and holding people accountable, collecting the taxes that the school district is owed, make sure the school district gets their money, that's the problem. So the fact that Mount Vernon City was raising taxes and we're still in a problem, that shows you that if we had raised taxes, it might still be in a problem.
So there should have been better communication with the community. While the years of no tax increase has led us to the road we're on right now. This 0% increase, however many years it's been, has put the district in its position and has attributed to where we are now. As a trustee, I would be tasked to help push the needle forward. Had the district certified the list when they were supposed to, we would have been in a better financial standing.
We're going to start with you and go down. And because of time, we're going to cut it to 30 seconds.
Oh boy.
I know that's quick, but so how do you plan to support mental development in our schools and our students, I should say, in order to eliminate crime and violence amongst our students?
Can you repeat that, because the part of the first question was a little mumbled?
What would you do to support the mental health of the student, to help eliminate crime and violence amongst our students?
Okay, I'm currently the board secretary for the Mount Vernon Westchester Community Health Center. So we would look to bring services into the school and continue the partnership, because we already have health centers in the schools. So we would look to push that. We would bring in professionals that can talk to the students, because quite honestly, with schools closing, there's going to be a lot of issues that the children are going to face. And so we need to be able to support them. As a parent, I would want my child to be supported. New students are coming in and new families are coming in.
As I mentioned earlier, the students that are acting up in school are also acting up at home and on the streets. So we have to fix that issue before we can just put the finger on the school district. Okay, so yes, the children do need help. We do need to bring professionals in to help them. But what about when they go home? What about when they're in the streets in Mount Vernon? We have to fix that first.
So one of the things that I really think we need to learn is emotional intelligence, and not only academic intelligence, right? So thinking about SEL programs as well, that's dealing with peer mediation so they can understand how to do conflict resolutions in real time within the schools. Also thinking about how can we leverage having the police department help with support in community outreach, and so that we're again eliminating just a school to prison pipeline, by ensuring that our students are succeeding in learning how to deal with conflict resolution in real time.
So I would partner with a lot of resources in and around Mount Vernon, not just in local, but also at the state level. Make sure that our professionals get the right tools to deal with the mental and kids with disability going forward.
So at Mount Vernon High School, there is an amazing mental health clinic that is highly underutilized, the Rockland Children's Center. I think that the district needs to take advantage of this gem that we already have here. As far as collaboration, the men and women of the Mount Vernon Police Department, when requested to go into a school, they will always be there. Oftentimes the officers will make visits to the school to teach children about public safety and you know, being safe on social media, and especially, you know, peer interactions. What is my 30, oh, I forgot it's 30 seconds.
So mental health is very important. I visited a school in Newburgh where the children, their first period in high school, the first period they go in to see social workers and counselors to discuss their day. Because you don't know how some of these students, how their life is at home. So I believe that all students, even elementary students, should have a period where they have the ability to speak to some mental health counselors in order to help them during their day.
Basically, I would say let's use the resources that we currently have that we're not using. The Guidance Center, right? We have the Mental Health Association. We have the Department of Social Services. We have the Department of Community Mental Health. Remember, I work with the Department of Social Services. We have district offices in all of the communities, especially in Mount Vernon. Utilize the services that are there to gain assistance for our young people as well as our professionals in our respective buildings and in the community. So for me, it's about using what we have to the best of our ability, because a lot of it is free, right? You don't have to pay for it, so why go out and do something that you can get for free?
Time. We're going to start with you and go with this. The last question, again, 30 seconds. How would you describe your decision-making process?
I've been in this field for 30 plus years. I've moved up the ranks to now becoming a Deputy Commissioner of Social Services, where I oversee housing, workforce, I oversee adult protective services, I oversee the SNAP and HEAP departments. So in order for me to get to this position, I had to make some good decisions. I had to make good decisions on staffing. I had to make good decisions on programs. So basically, I feel that I have done a great job in regards to making decisions that help not only folks in my team, but in the communities that I work in.
Sitting on this board, we have a board of 9, and everybody comes from different avenues of this community, different areas of the community. They have different jobs, and sometimes you don't see things the same way. And once you listen to people put their argument out as to why they feel a certain way, you may change your mind. So I think that you need to sit and listen to people as far as what they want to say.
I feel that decision-making, especially when sitting on a board with other members, you have to be collaborative. You can't just, you give your opinion and then you listen to others, and then you see, you know, okay, I may not agree, but then I have to ask, well, why don't I agree? And then I would like to ask that person to just get more knowledge on why they feel the way they do. So I feel that, you know, decision-making has to be critical, it has to be clear, and it has to be thorough, but also collaborative when sitting on a board.
Coming from a corporate background, I would say managing is not only sometimes challenging, but you have to know how to work with people. Everyone in the room, everyone at the table have different personalities. So you just have to know how to deal with each individual and be collaborative with each person when they speak, listen, and have everyone have a voice when they're given their decisions.
Overseeing 34 after-school sites and 34 principals is not an easy feat by any means. And when it comes to decision-making, I try not to make a cookie-cutter approach to a lot of things. I try to tailor it for the impact that is actually needed for the individual aspect of whatever that we're focusing on. So thinking about my individual way of going about things, I really try to do a collaborative effort, and also trying to make sure that it's fact-based and research-based as well. So it's not based on implicit bias, it's not based on how the weather is or anything like that, but it's actually based on the work that's going to lead to impact and, again, intentionality behind it all.
Well, I use different techniques, but being on the board, I listen. You have to listen first, you know, analyze what you're hearing before you can make decisions. And there's going to be people that have expertise in different fields, You have to be able to listen and learn, and then collaborate. So that's what I would bring to the school board if I'm elected.
My decision-making process will be clear, concise, and collaborative. I manage 100+ people, and I bring empathy to my role. I like to solve problems, very calculated, and I don't rush decisions. I like to listen to people first before I make any sound judgment.
So it's 7:59. We're supposed to be out here at 8. So I'm gonna ask everybody if the PTA Council will email the candidates their questions, and y'all can get them back in 2 days. I will post all the answers on blackwestchester.com so people can go and they can read. So if you have any questions, please give it to the PTA Council. So I will do that because there's a lot of questions we can't get to. And can everybody give a round of applause to all the candidates? Remember the election is 1 week away, May 20th, Tuesday, May 20th. Tell a friend to tell a friend, to tell a friend to tell a friend. Everybody needs to come out and vote. And I pass the mic to the council. Oh, that's it, and we're done. And everybody, good night, God bless.